thanks a lot to XIMB, to NavKiran for inviting us here. It's a real pleasure, and I hope it will turn out to be a meaningful session. So we are Team Coffee House, as Unita introduced, so one of the distinguishing features of our team is that we maintain the same team right throughout our second years for all case competitions. And Coffee House is something you can see on my background. So it's a place in Kolkata. We all three of us are from Kolkata, and it's something that's very close to our heart. So anything that you got to add, Shomajit and Anushmita?
No, I think we are good to go. We can start from scratch.
Yeah, so we can go ahead.
So guys, I think the first thing that we should talk about is basically setting the context. So guys, what was the problem statement for Flipkart Wired business case last year?
Right. So this is the case brief that was given to us. So the overall theme, every case competition has a theme, right? So this case competition dealt with increasing customer base, basically acquiring the next 100 million customers for Flipkart, and leading the Indian e-com sector growth, which is actually booming right now. So the overall theme was customer acquisition and implementing customer-focused, feasible, and sustainable business solutions. If we look into the structure, so the structure went like this. There was not much deviation between the campus and the nationals, unlike most other case competitions. So the case was regarding what Flipkart should be. Should it be an integrated app? By integrated app, I mean a Paytm where you get all services within one app, or should it be a standalone kind of an app in which you have different apps for different kinds of services? For example, Google, which has Duo, Gmail, and all the other apps. And in connection to the same, we were asked to decide on key areas of implementation, the timeline, the customer metrics that we will use to track the key success factors, and the corresponding supply side and demand side changes. To give you a bit of context, so Flipkart is a marketplace, and any marketplace has two sides to it. One is the supply side and the demand side. So whatever is being demanded by the customers, which is the demand side, has to be supported by the business, which is the supply side. In the nationals, basically the brief was the same. We were asked to elaborate on whatever we had mentioned through more detailing, and this detailing was carried out by something called use cases, something that I'll illustrate later on, and more detailing on the supply side, demand side, stages, timeline, and the key success factors. So before diving into the case, I'll present something which I think will be useful to you across case competitions. It's not just specific to Flipkart Wired, but this is a kind of a structured thought process that we followed. And we applied this to every case competition that we were a part of. So these are the steps by which we use to approach case competitions. The first one is what we called inspect. Inspect is nothing but getting a feel of what is going on in the industry, what is going on in the market, which is basically primary and secondary research. In Flipkart's case, it was what influences e-com buying behavior and what are the pros and cons of a standalone app and an integrated platform. This is to get a feel of what is going on in the market, to get an idea. In the second step, we have ideation. Ideation is nothing but what is your big idea, and this doubtless is the most important aspect of any case competition. Whatever you are doing, whenever any company is coming to your campus, they are coming for two reasons. Number one, they are coming for their own branding so that you don't choose other companies and sit for their company. And second is they are actually looking for solutions to problems that they're facing on an ongoing basis. So ideation in our case, in Flipkart's case, was how can Flipkart get the next 100 million customers? What is it doing presently, and how are competitors shaping up? The second part of ideation is identification. Identification is basically zeroing in on the actual solution. And in this process, you have to discard some of those solutions and you have to prioritize on some. Now, what is the process through which you accept an idea or discard it? Is you have to view any idea through two lenses. One is the customer's lens. Will it benefit the customer? And second, the company's lens. Does it tie in with our strategic approach? Does the implementation of this idea require a lot of capital, and can I afford it? These are the questions that you need to ask. And all these questions are company specific. So for example, for a company like Amazon, finances are not that big a problem. They can afford like large investments. But for a startup, say, they can't afford big investments. The second last part is the illustration. So this is the second most important part, by the way. So one is ideation. In fact, illustration is maybe more important than ideation in a way. It's because it's good to have a big idea, but unless you can show it to the panel that you have actually done something, there's no point, right? So in illustration, what is a pen profile of the typical Flipkart customer? So you show the thought process that you have used and how the solutions that you are suggesting will actually benefit the customer. So the questions that we addressed are like, how shall the Flipkart interface look like? So in which we actually designed a wireframe. And the final part is the implementation. Again, this is very, very important. So what are the key success factors? What are the typical timelines, milestones? How will you go about implementing the idea? So this is the basic question.
This 5i framework is something that we came out ourselves while solving the case. It's not a stringent one, but we think it's actually gives you a structured approach to solve a case. So this is not just for Flipkart. In future, if you want to solve any case, then probably also you can refer to this framework to have a constructed approach.
So guys, now that you talked about the approach and the 5i framework, I think the next bit that will be very interesting for us to know, and as a next step to the solving of the case, would be how did you research?
Right.
Like, what was the process of generation of insights?
Right. Thanks, Unnati. So any research has two aspects, kind of two types of research: primary and secondary. Secondary is something that every case competition team will do, right? What sets you apart as a team will be the extent of the secondary research that you are doing, what insights you are getting out of it, and secondly, the primary research that you are doing. So whatever you see here on the screen is a summary of primary research that we had done, right? So for example, what we're doing here right now is trying to build into our solution to the first question, which is, should Flipkart be a standalone app or an integrated app? And what we have tried here is determining what are the pros and cons of a standalone and an integrated app. So for example, if you see each box, say if we say 42% site unavailability of space as reason for not installing additional apps. So this is something that goes for the integrated app, right? 27% say that using multiple apps leads to excessive battery drainage, right? Again, this reinforces our hypothesis. If we go into the next one, I'll come into this later. See the survey insights and survey consequences. So this is a summary of whatever we had presented here in the current scenario and consequences. That people are more prone to uninstalling apps. Too many apps means confusion. Battery is a huge problem. What is the result out of it is highlighted in the survey consequences. Customers don't like bouncing between apps, and customer may prefer a single app. So you may feel that whatever I mentioned here in the survey insights and consequences, it's already there in the current scenario, right? Why are we repeating it? We are repeating it just to reinforce our point. Remember that the person who are evaluating, so this is something that we had submitted in the campus rounds. And the people who are actually evaluating it are also evaluating hundreds of other entries. And within that, the message needs to clearly stand out. And what we have on the left, salient category-based traits, large, lifestyle, furniture. This is something that is not very directly related to a question, but this is something that we have used throughout our presentation. For, say, for lifestyle, what are the drivers? Low, medium, average selling price, and it's experience driven. So this also communicates to the panel that we know what we are doing, right? What you have on the right, again, this is the competitive map. So contrast this with say Amazon is doing this. You have a text document in which you write all this down. Nobody will read it, right? But however, if you have a map like this is something that's not very fancy, but this is something that is very, very functional, right? You show how apps are presently, what is the current position of Flipkart, and where you envision it to be, right? You create two axes. On one you have the app structure, which is individual or super, and the ownership on the other axis, which is fully owned or with collaborators. Again, future Flipkart, you summarize all of this in one box. Super app through hybrid route and blah, blah, blah. So even if the person does not read the entire slide, if he reads only this part, the yellow part, he will have an idea that we are doing this.
Yeah,
with primary and secondary research.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing here. As you can see this 2x2 diagram. So this was not sought in the solution, but they wanted us to do a competitive analysis. So this is a way to summarize your competitive analysis in only one diagram. And you can see that this is very comprehensive, very easy to understand. And it takes a little space also. And you don't have to write a lots of text. So you can also, in your case solutions, you can come up with some 2x2 matrix to help the judges understand your solution better.
I just want to add one single point that whenever you are doing any kind of primary or secondary research, just make sure that your solution is aligned with your research. It's not a good thing if you come up with a different output from your research and your idea is not aligned with your research output. Then it would be a thing like your customer doesn't need that thing, but you're force fitting your idea into their solution. So it's always good that come up with your idea from what customer needs rather than directly starting from your idea and then making things based on that.
So use cases is something that we have done extensively in every case competition. I'll show you what a use case is. So use case is nothing but a description of a process of structuring your thought and showing what the pain points of the customer are and how you are suggesting solutions to those pain points. So if you see here, these are two use cases. Let's concentrate on one. So first, what you do in a use case is present a pen profile of what your customer looks like. So for all this 23, 20 young male professional, tech savvy, all these help you to draw a picture in your mind, right? So this is what I am looking at. In one line, you summarize what are the priorities of your customer segment, a seamless platform that fulfills a life cycle needs quickly and conveniently. So speed, convenience, very clear. Next, what you do is you point out the needs of the customer. So what is it doing? What would so most of you would be in this age range. You're doing your MBA, and some of you might have work ex as well. So you use multiple screens. You try to stay abreast of the latest in fashion, in electronics. You don't have much time, so you seek something that is seamless, that has quick payment features, right? And these are actually opportunities for business opportunities that companies can cash upon. And this is exactly what we have suggested in our push categories, right? For example, to deal with low attention span, you need to engage the user. And say again, for example, in the next one, stays abreast of latest tech and fashion. So you try to make the customer come back to you again and again via incentives for repurchase. And whatever we have done here, you see, we have highlighted again that the keywords have been highlighted in red. So this is again to reinforce, like even if the person does not go through the entire slide, through all the text materials, he has an idea of what we are trying to say. It's the same. This is the pen profile for another type of consumer. Yeah. So the thing here is, does Flipkart have only these two types of customers? No. But do we have only these two types of users? No. But say someone who is a millennial, he is a heavy user of Flipkart. Again, housewives, people who stay at home. Again, they have a lot of free time that we can cash upon. So this is something that we have developed through our customer research, and we felt that these are two customer segments that can be very profitable because they are very large in size, right? So
now I'm going to take the discussion forward from here. Talking about our primary and secondary research, first, whenever we create any kind of deck for any case competition, first we do primary and secondary research, and whatever output we get from that, we build our idea based on the customer needs. Once we come up with idea, we see that if we can leverage any of the company's core competencies for those ideas. Let's say for Flipkart, they have a very good supply chain network. So if we can come up with an idea with where they can use this supply chain core competency, which will help them to reduce their cost and also increase their profit. So these are some good things if you can come up with based on their core competency, which will help them to implement your idea in a much smoother way. Then moving on, after that, we need to think that we gave them certain ideas. Now, we also need to think if they will be able to implement those things in short term or not. Let's say you gave them an idea which will take around 1 or 1.5 years to implement. Then it's which will give them it will take 5 to 6 years for them to implement that idea. Then it's a long time, and you don't know what's going to happen after 5 to 6 years or 8 to 10 years. So if you give an idea for long term, that's not they're looking for. They're looking for an idea which they can implement immediately and get return immediately, because if they want any solutions long term, then they wouldn't have come for any case studies. Then after that, finally we need to think about KPIs. What is KPI? It is key performance indicator. Now whenever you are giving them any kind of solution that these things you should implement in your company, you need to give them certain indicators. Based on that, they can measure that if that idea is working properly or not. Let's say you suggested them as a brand ambassador, you take Virat Kohli, then you need to also give them some kind of indicators that how will you measure that by making Virat Kohli the brand ambassador, they are getting more customers or they are getting more valuable customers. So those are some KPIs which are important to mention, based on which they can evaluate your idea. And if it's going great by those KPIs, then your idea is doing really well. So this is a slide we presented during our finals, national finals. This is the actual slide we presented. So there were a limit on number of slides, I think 5 or 7, and we had to put everything in those slides. But on the other hand, whenever you present, you should not present a very text heavy slide. Whenever you are submitting any slide for case competition, you make it text heavy. Text heavy means you put important points, not putting many sentences. Put only important words over there, like Soham mentioned in primary and secondary research. But whenever you are presenting in front of judges, your slides should not be very much text heavy or content heavy, because then your judges will get lost that where you are talking to, which part you are explaining of your slide. So at that point of time, it's very important to put some animation in your slide, so that you can make your slide more proper and less cluttery. And it will also help judges to follow what you are saying and from where you are saying and which part you are explaining. Third, animation is very great because you can put a lot of content into one single slide, and you don't need to invest one more slide, or you don't need to worry that I don't have more slides to put my content, but I have content and I won't be able to present it. So this is whatever I'm now going to show. This thing we all put in one single slide. We didn't use more than one slide for all these ideas. So based on our problem statement, we came up with certain ideas. One of them is cash card. So what is a cash card? It is more like how Amazon implemented nowadays Amazon Pay. So whenever you cancel any payment, you will get the refund in cash card, or while payment, you can use that cash card for making any kind of purchase. Yeah, here we also design that how it will look in Flipkart, Flipkart app. So this is the thing in which the panelists also appreciated us a lot, that we created a visualization of how it will look in the app, and it helped them to get the point that where they can fit it and where it will look good and from where we'll get more customer for this idea. Next, we gave them an idea of Flipkart Express. It is more like a Dunzo or Genie of Swiggy's system. Here, what we suggested, that whenever a person is going to deliver something to someone, and that person has something to deliver to his friends, let's say B. Now, rather than doing something else, a Flipkart delivery guy can take that parcel from person A and can deliver it to person B. And why we suggested this? Because it will help it will be easier for Flipkart to implement this Flipkart Express, as they have very good supply chain and operations network. So it won't cost them much. On the other hand, the benefits will be very large. So we suggested them this one more solution. Here on the right hand side, you can see that how it will look in Flipkart app. We also gave that, like whenever a person is placing an order, we can give them the suggestion that if do you want any kind of service like this, then press on that and we will do this for you. This is FlipFix. So as we all know that Flipkart is mainly famous for electronics, and we buy electronic devices from Flipkart. Here we suggested that companies like Lenovo, LG, they give a brand warranty for 1 or maximum 2 years. But most of the time we need this warranty for longer than 2 or more periods. So we suggested, why can't Flipkart provide a repairing service with extended warranty? Like the company has 2 years of warranty, Flipkart can give them warranty for 5 years. That whenever, let's say, you bought a laptop from Flipkart, and after 3 years it's not working properly, but you have Flipkart FlipFix warranty, then they will simply call Flipkart and they will ask that I need the warranty service, and they will provide that customer that service. In this way, more customer will come to Flipkart because they have a kind of extra benefit, and it will also help Flipkart to retain their customers on Flipkart only, because they are getting some more benefits than Amazon or any other e-commerce platform. This is Media Card. There's nothing much to say about Media Card. We all know we have Spotify, Netflix, Amazon Prime Videos, all these kind of apps where we can see or stream videos or can listen music. So as we previously suggested, that we gave Flipkart the idea that we should move from individual app to uh, you know super app. So in that, we suggested we can put some kind of media card where they can see videos, We can have regional content, as Flipkart is mainly used by Indians in different places who are not very familiar with English, particularly in language. So they might be or will be interested to see some contents which are not particularly in English but in their regional languages too. In this way, whenever a person is shopping from Flipkart, rather than switching between apps like Spotify and then Flipkart or Amazon Prime videos, they can directly, they can always stay on Flipkart app and they can stream any kind of videos. They can, you know, do shopping or anything else. They will have everything in one app. They don't need multiple apps for that. So as you see in the screen, we also showed how it will look in Flipkart app. Flipchat. So it's one more kind of a service we thought Flipkart can provide, where let's say I want to share a dress. I chose a dress. I feel it's great, but I want to share it with my friends and want their opinion about this. So what we do currently, we share it via WhatsApp or we take screenshots and then send it to our friends. What we suggested, rather than doing this, we can simply have an, you know, thing in Flipkart app called Flipchat, where they can directly share their the link of that particular product to their friend. They don't need to use any, you know, third party kind of app like WhatsApp and all to share all this content. They can directly do it in Flipkart. All our motive was to get all the necessary things in Flipkart app so that they don't need to switch between apps. This is Flip Flap. This is a kind of gaming thing we thought Flipkart can implement in their app. So what this does, Flipkart can have a gaming thing in their app where people can play games and qualify different levels. Based on their qualification in levels, they will, you know, get certain points, and they can convert those reward points into cash while purchasing anything from Flipkart app. So in the right hand side, you can see how it will look like in a Flipkart app. So whenever you are buying a phone and it costs around 14,000, but you're short of 2,000 rupees, there we can advertise our, you know, this flip flap idea over there just below the phone price, that if you are short of 2,000 rupees, you can play the game and clear certain rounds, based on which you will get certain points, and you can convert those points into cash, which will help you to buy this phone in much cheaper price than what it is currently.
So,
Yeah, sure.
can you help us go through the process of identifying KPIs when we are talking about the add-on features that we are giving in case of, say, the super app? So, can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, thank you, Unnati. It's actually a great question, and I was
Yeah.
just coming on that. So, Soham, if you can move forward. So these are certain KPIs we came up with to, you know, identify that if our idea is working well or not, and if it's not working well and it's taking a lot of cost, then we can remove those. Flipkart can remove those ideas or things from app, and if it's going great based on the KPIs, then they can do well, you know, with those ideas. Now your KPI should be such that it can be easily measurable. You should not have a KPI, you know, implementing which you need a more amount of cost rather than implementing the idea. So we as a team came up with certain KPIs which cost less, and you can evaluate easily the performance of all these ideas. So talking about the cash card, how will we evaluate the performance of a cash card? We can check that average wallet value per consumer. What does that mean? That means that you can check that how many people, you know, storing some kind of balance in cash card, or how many people are using cash card while making any kind of transaction. Then moving forward to Flipkart Express, how will you evaluate the performance of Flipkart Express? You can find out the number of parcels picked up within 1 kilometer radius. The more number of parcels they will pick up, it means more people are using that particular idea. If people are not using it, then it's of no use to keep it in the app. Then talking about flip flap, actually we have many more KPIs if you see on the screen, but I'll explain one from each of them. And then flip flap, how will we measure the performance of flip flap? We can find out that how many people are playing those games, like daily or monthly active users, or we can find out that how much time people are spending on that game. It's important that if you spend more time on the game, it means you're spending more time on the Flipkart app itself. So that's a great thing. So you can measure also that average time spent on number of sessions per user per day. In this way, you can find out flip fix. You can find out by looking at number of services availed per number of appliances purchased. What does that mean? Whenever a person is buying any kind of device, if that person is also taking flip fix as add on to that or not. If people are not taking it, means it's of no use. Then flip chat, we can see that how many people are using by looking at users availing per non availing Flipkart chat. Then media card, we can find out session duration, that how much time they're spending on that particular media card, or for how much time they're listening to music or watching videos, and rate of customer using OTT via AV, and all those things are some metrics we came up with. If you come up with any kind of idea, it's very good to come up with certain very good and easily measurable KPIs. This is a timeline which they asked us to come up with, that how much time do you think it will take for any kind of idea to implement. So if you can see at the bottom, we mentioned that for market research, it's in yellow, like 1 month for each of this. Then project sizing, business preparation, and all those things. And finally, we came up with a rough idea. It's not the actual how much time they will take. It's approximately how much time they will take based on us. And as you can see, by 8 months, they will be able to finish the whole work. So it's a short-term kind of idea we provided them.
I will take on from here. So I just want to add 2 points on this slide. This slide was excellently understood by Anushmita. Just see, there are two things that how you would come up with KPIs. First of all, there are some industry standard KPIs that you can get from the internet. Apart from that, after brainstorming, you can come up with some other KPIs relevant to your idea. See, if some of the ideas, some of the KPIs are really good, then judges will appreciate you. And coming to the timeline, so first of all, there are 8 blocks, 8 parts of developing from ideas to actual implementation. So now the first question is, how did we get to those timeline? So those timelines, actually, we talked with people from Flipkart and Amazon, and then we zeroed down to those 8 blocks. And coming to the actual time requirement for all of those ideas. So we don't actually understand the exact time which each and every part will require, but this is an approximation, you can say. If you see that the flip chat, which can be built in-house, would take less time with compared to Flip Express. So this is the relativity that we maintained in suggesting the timeline. Next part is how would you implement the ideas. So this was again part of the problem statement. Now for any platform model, there are two sides. One is supply side and another is demand side. Supply side is Flipkart itself and along with Flipkart suppliers. And from on the demand side, we are there, the customers. So here I would not go by one ideas because Anushmita elaborated every idea. So just for example, if you consider cash card. Now what is cash card? Cash card is kind of wallet system. So for the demand side, you require banks, for the implementation. You require other vendors to be agreed for accepting payment via wallet. These are the supply side, part of supply side deployment. And on the demand side, so there are, suppose, like if you can see that Flipkart has super coins. So this is the super coins is the medium of wallet for Flipkart. Now in the demand side also, you can extend the service to the vendors like Oyo, Ola, through which you can book via Flipkart platform. So it gives you more variety. Now, if you take this flip flap, the game thing. So if you see the demand side, if you see the supply side, you have to onboard game developers. If you see on the demand side, then you might see that the games we would like would not be same as the games those housewives like, and that would not be the same which professionals like. So according to the age category and the job category, the education profile, the games would change. Now Flipkart has abundance of data, so Flipkart can leverage that, and then Flipkart can actually suggest people that, hey, you want to play this game, because Flipkart has lots of data, it can use it for suggesting different games to different customer segment. Again, if you see Flipchat, for Flipchat, there is no external stakeholders involved in supply side. You can make it from in-house, and you can, just for ease of understanding, you can add it in regional languages also, like Bengali, Maratha, and everything. On the demand side, when a customer is seeing some products like a t-shirt, you just highlight a text saying, hey, you want to share. So it is a nudge you are giving to the customer. This customer might be willing to share that through this option. Now you can also share the you can also limit the sharing of this feature to only Flipkart app users. So if you want to share something with your relatives or parents or friends, that friend or relative also have to have this Flipkart app. Now again, you can see that those people have to install Flipkart. So overall Flipkart app users would increase, which would help Flipkart. So I would not tell exactly all those 6 ideas, but I think you can get some ideas that how these supply side and demand side execution takes place. Everything you cannot fit into the limitation of slides. Like in Flipkart, there was a limitation of slides. So we use the appendix to represent some of our ideas. You can see that we propose that all of our 6 ideas would be envisioned in the Flipkart app like this. So these are just, so suppose one person uses cash card more than other features. So for that person, the size of the cash card icon would be higher. Now, if you see, whenever you are buying a laptop, Lenovo laptop, there is this feature. Do you want to add 1 year post warranty operation and maintenance at rupees 1000 only, which is a part of FlipFix. So this is the way we are integrating and we are representing our ideas. So Flipkart is a company which is solely dependent on their app. So if you can show them in their way, that is, you can show them through the app itself, then your ideas would be appreciated. This is again regarding the flip chat option, how one would want to see the flip chat option on their app. This is Flip Express. Now the another thing is, when Shom talked a lot about primary research and secondary research, we as a team believe that primary research is utmost useful, and from our experience we have seen whenever you are doing some primary research, so the judges actually ask some questions from your primary research. So it's always better to tabulate the main results in your appendix. It will help you when judges would ask questions. Also, judges try to check the authenticity. So if you present them with such a graph, judges would think that you were loyal to your primary research. So this was all about the Flipkart case competition. So just in a brief, we would want to tell 6-7 points here. The first insight, it is first of all, it is common for all case competitions. The first thing is, say, brevity is the key. When you are presenting, you yourself are the subject. Now, many people actually ask us one thing, that what would be the ratio of the text and image in your presentation. So we would tell, however, you have to submit presentation online, then make your PPT full of text. But again, when I tell full of text, it has to be aesthetically presented. Next, but if when you are actually presenting in front of the judges, then make it less text and more of animations and images, as Anushmita told on her idea slides. Next, again, as I told, use visuals like Anushmita use transitions, animations, etc. You can also highlight your key points by italicizing or using higher font size, etc. The next thing is explore all possible solutions. It is a there is a phrase MECE, MECE, which is taken from consultancy jargon. This is mutually exclusive, cumulatively exhaustive. So that is basically for a problem there might be 6-7 solutions. So first note it all down, then analyze their feasibility and how useful those can be, and then ultimately suggest top 2 or 3 ideas or solutions. The next thing is very important: be realistic and well researched. Be honest to your primary research. Devote time to primary research if you want to come up with something really concrete. One of the secrets of our success is primary research. Don't try to force fit any prejudices or any hypothesis you have assumed earlier on. You can use guesstimates and financials to substantiate your solution, but again, from our perspective, financials is not mandatory. If you are enough sure about your financials, then tell them, otherwise not. The next thing is very important. It's all about one big idea. So the companies are coming here for the search of ideas. If you can suggest them one good idea, one really convincing idea that the company can capitalize, then you are going to win. Nobody can actually control that. Those ideas should add value to both the customer and the company. So be honest to yourself. There was time in our time that we, after brainstorming for 2 days, we decided not to proceed in the competition because we did not have any big idea. So it's okay if you don't have any big idea or you don't have something innovative. Don't present or don't submit for the sake of submission or presentation. It won't help you. It would just eat up your time. So be honest to yourself. Just come up with some innovative and good ideas that at the end of the day, the company representatives can take from there. And last point that we believe is the biggest secret of our success is the team. We stick to a single team throughout the second year. We did not change it. We had in ourselves psychological safety. We could contradict each other without the fear of getting judged, without the fear of quarrel. So do brainstorm within yourselves, stick to your team members, and it's better to make a team maybe late on the first year or in the initial start of the second year. It would be better if your team members have complementary skill sets. It would really help you. And you have to understand one thing, that these case competitions are not part of academics. So you have to carry it along with the academics. End of the day, it should make some kind of happiness, not a stress. So you should enjoy the process, not the other thing.